the smaller private training boutique gyms fail often. So those gyms who rely on like personal training only, as sad as it is, like they go under pretty frequently because
Really? Yeah.
they're reliant on like high cost members, very high cost, like over $150 per month. And that turnover is pretty crazy because like
Yeah.
once somebody gets competent enough to train, they're like, after 2, 3 months, man, like I might be able to do this on my own. So they'll go somewhere else.
All right, bro, we're live. Dude, let's first off introduce yourself and then we can catch up.
My screen name says Alvin Numata, which is a recent development. So I changed my last name to basically adopt my mother's maiden name. I basically freed myself from my slave name of Johnson, but I didn't marry into my wife's name. Somebody was like, "Oh, you're one of those guys. You married your wife's name." I was like, "Nah, man." But so we got married. I adopted my mom's maiden name. And yeah, so me and Norman go quite a ways back. We're in the Air Force together. I separated from the Air Force, went to go try something a little bit harder, and then got the ultimate hardest task of becoming a father. And currently now where I'm sitting, I have a gym called Counterculture Gym here in St. Pete, Florida.
Bro, I didn't know you changed your name. I didn't like I thought that was
Yeah.
just Zoom just like being stupid. Talk me
Yeah.
through that, bro.
I wanted to
I thought that was a joke, bro.
no, no. I really wanted to like set a good foundation for our family name. And so the backstory goes, I'm the firstborn son in our family. And in the Japanese culture, it's a big deal. And I'm the only one having sons as well. So I'm basically the only one that can continue the lineage on. So I
Yeah.
wanted to pay homage to my mother, pay homage to, her father, my grandfather, and basically try to get this train keep going, because
Yeah.
Johnson means nothing to me. My biological father's name, and you know how that story goes with black fathers. He kind of wasn't in the picture, and
I was gonna say it's been a minute since we've like talked face to face, I guess, quote unquote.
yeah,
Your dad, your dad like wasn't really in your life at
no,
all, right? Okay, yeah, I didn't
no,
think so.
yeah. I did have a strong father figure though, as my stepfather, and he's an amazing dude. Worked his ass off. Can't say enough good things about that guy. I mean, he definitely taught me my work ethic, but with that, and I'm sure you can attest to this, that generation doesn't know how to stop working. So there's
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
there's no balance. There's no balance, dude. So it's like what he taught me was work hard and shut up, and then things will come. But there's a cost to that. And sometimes we see it. We just got to learn a little bit earlier. And that's what I'm trying to adopt. And we touched briefly. You asked me if I came to the gym or I woke up at 4 a.m. every day. I can't say I'm perfect. I'm not even gonna lie and try to say that, but like I wake up pretty early just so I can get all the gym tasks done and then come home and spend the rest of the day with them.
Yeah, what's your because I actually do want to touch on the mindset thing that you just brought up. The old generation, bro, I've been on a kick recently where I've been trying to find this balance of make enough money where money solves all my money problems, if that makes sense. But
Mhm.
then I want the rest of my time to be just completely free, bro. So
Yeah.
like you talking about your stepfather. I agree. My dad does not stop moving, dude. That's just like
Yeah.
his thing where he's always trying to like work on something. But then I notice the quote unquote like newer generation, I see a bunch of media around them being like lazy. And I feel like every generation is going to say stuff like that. But
Right.
do you feel like we're in this good, easy middle ground where we work hard, but not too hard, if that makes sense?
It might yeah, it's a little tough to one thing I hate speaking in like absolutes because
Yeah.
there's so much nuance to things, but I think, we're in a especially our generation, we're in a good spot because we finally realize we can do anything. We can literally become anything that we want to. And the accessibility to like technology and all this other stuff and like just the infinite amount of information that we have, we can literally do anything. But I do think there with that amount of information, there's like analysis paralysis, right? So most times people have great ideas and then they never do anything with them, or they try to have the perfect amount of information to start something. And I see it here because everybody asks me, how do you like how can I open a gym? How can I do this? How can I do that? And it's like I'm the worst person to ask because my situation is going to be completely different from anybody else's. Like a lot of people will not have access to the amount of money that you make doing government contracting, and there's a ton of different variables. It's like how badly do you want it? And I think the real question is like, why do you want to do something?
Yeah.
And that helps you, really recage your focus and like, do you actually want to do it? Because the hows aren't as important as the why is. And there's a great book that's called Start with Why. And it's one of the books that I read early on. And I was like, like, yes, hows are important questions, but the why is going to get you through all of the hard points, the roadblocks and all that stuff. So I guess, just to build from here, our generation, I really don't know, man, because I meet a lot of younger people and I think we're kind of screwed in the tradesman like perspective because not too many people are doing trades work like HVAC, AC, welding, or whatever. But, other than that, I think, our generation's got a pretty good work ethic. We can do anything we want to. Yeah.
That's awesome that you brought up the fact that you feel like we can do anything that like we want like nowadays and stuff like that. Cause I can be with Groot there, bro. I'm thinking about that book that you were talking about. Cause I can't think of his name, but that's been on my reading list, like things that I want to get to. He does the TED Talk stuff. I can't think of his name, but
I could be wrong. I think it's Simon Sinek.
yeah, Simon Sinek. Yep. You're 100% right. I'm super curious on your gym journey, dude. Cause like you talked about the contract work and then using that to like fund like the gym journey. I noticed that. I should have asked more questions over the years of just
Right.
like how you were managing that. Cause I'm thinking about doing the exact same thing. Of like,
Right.
I'm now working for a government contract. It's a fucking awesome job.
Yeah.
But to your point, like there's something with being able to chase whatever I want, like out of
Right.
life. Like what made you want to become an entrepreneur? You've always had that mindset, to be completely honest. Like you've always been like, yeah, bro, this serves me for right now, but like I'm not about like I could feel that when you got out of the service, you're just like, this shit was cool, bro. But you're like, I got better stuff going on in life that I can go pursue.
Yeah, there was, man, and I feel like that's just in our like masculine nature to want to do more
Yeah.
always. Like men have been doing this forever. And even while I was, a Tizzo, I was like, bro, I could be doing more. You know what I mean? Like I could be doing more with my body, even if it was for the government to use and abuse it. I wanted to do more.
Yep.
But then when everything changed, when we found out we were having a kid, I was like, yeah, well, life isn't all about the government using your body. So let me find out what I like. And here's where you can look at your parents and be like, I think about my father often. I'm like, what do you like doing, bro? Outside of like working, And this is when I was like, I had existential dread. I'm like, am I gonna just work for the rest of my life, or am I going to find something that I love doing and can make money off of it? I don't need to be rich. Just like you, I just need to have everything covered for. And so I don't feel like I'm doing something so I don't feel like I'm working. And I'm not very smart. So I'm just like, what do I like doing? I spend a lot of time at the gym. Oh shit, let me open a gym, dude. And it was like, duh, dude. And for the longest time, I mean, you knew this, like while I was in the military, deployments, man, I was helping people get jacked, super strong. And
Yep.
it was just like I enjoyed doing it. So I never really made it a career and it never burnt me out. But I enjoyed helping people, even though they would annoy the fuck out of me. I loved helping them. I loved seeing them transform their bodies, get strong as hell. And so I was like, I do this. Like I really do this and I love doing it. So let me do it on a greater capacity. And then when I was working with L3, I was like, okay, if I want to make a living from this, let me start personal training. So I started taking clients out of my garage and
I remember that, bro.
I was like, man, like I like this. And I started building my garage gym out even more. And I
Yeah.
was like, what if I scale? I was like, what if I scale, dude? Because I think I had 6, 7 clients and I was like, I could do more. And then I had a few online clients too. So I was like, I could do more. Let's scale this. Let me open up a smaller gym. And opening the gym is when I realized that I just like working out with people. So I like the one-on-one sessions. I don't so much enjoy being behind a computer, like programming people's nutrition and training plans. there are people who are amazing at that and that's their thing. And so now, like anybody I had, I'm like, I give them to the people that I know are great at doing that. When I just want to focus on being a great father, a great husband, and a good gym owner, because if I tried to do personal training now, I would probably hate the gym,
Yeah.
to be frank. But man,
Bro, I remember all those years of like you saying that just unlocked this like deep memory in my brain. You and Chad, bro, you and Spots, you guys would be in the gym every day together.
every
All
day.
the time, bro.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time, dude. And it was
Chad
like,
and be like, yo, what are you doing? And he's like, he would just send me like the buff arm emoji, and I'm like, yo, y'all are with each other all the time, bro.
all the time, dude. And it was like some people think that's like a boring or whatever, just being in the gym. But
Mhm.
when I thought about it, I was like, I really don't do anything besides go to the gym. Why don't I spend a lot of time in the gym? And since moving to Tampa, I was like, oh, Tampa's gotta have like a crazy gym scene. You know, you would think because it's a huge city that encompasses, Tampa, St. Pete, Pinellas Park, all these other cities and they're just so densely populated, but there's not like super dope gyms.
Yeah.
So I'm a nobody. We spent all our time in, run down deployment gyms, like hangar gyms, dirty ass gyms that had nothing. We called them prison gyms, right? So I was like, how do I bring that vibe, make it a little bit cooler, and then just get dope ass equipment? And that's literally all we did. And so back to when people ask me like, how do you do it? I'm like, I found what I liked about gyms and I found what I disliked. And that's I don't like commercial gyms. I really don't, but there's something for everyone. There has to be in society. So commercial gyms are a great entry point for a lot of people. But once you're sick of that, and once you're sick of the people who just go there to kind of, waste time, you want a serious training facility. And it kind of emulates like being deployed, where
Yeah.
the only escape is going to the gym. Like that's all you have. And it might just be like, we're conditioned. We're like prisoners coming out of the system. Like, oh, what do you like doing? I like going to the gym because that's all I have to do. It might be that, but fuck it, whatever, dude. It's a gift and a curse. So yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad I was just like a stupid gym bro. That's like, yeah, let me open a gym, dude.
Yeah.
The question felt so daunting. Like, what am I going to do? But it was so simple. It was like right in front of me. Yeah.
You feel like that was your market fit? Because I hear a lot of, and for anybody that's listening to the episode too, that's like aspiring to start a business and like do all these things. What Alvin is saying is he found his market fit based on like who he is as a person rather than trying to chase an audience and then develop a product that he doesn't even know if the audience like cares about. Like essentially what it sounds like you did was you marketed yourself, people bought into you, and then your community that you built was just like, oh shit, well, he's got a gym now. I already was going to the gym, but I like Alvin more. Let me
Right.
get away from Planet Fitness or wherever they were going in general. And I'm just
Right.
going to invest in him instead.
Yeah, and that's a good thought because when we reflect back on it, Linda was raised here pretty much, but we're not like we're basically nobodies, not saying that in a negative way. We're just not professional anythings. You know what I mean? Like we're just parents and we're from the area. So it's not that we already had a huge following to pack out the space as soon as we opened the door. It was kind of just like the concept of build and they will come. People are sitting around like twiddling their thumbs at like the LA Fitness and Planet Fitnesses, and they're just like, "Damn, is there something cooler than this? Like, is does the gym scene get better than this?" And the answer is yes. So they find us, and they're like, "Yes, like this is exactly what I was looking for."
Yeah.
And then you niche down even harder, right? And so we have powerlifting and bodybuilding equipment. So there's not a gym that's doing both. There's a gym that does one or the other, and they really don't do both very well. So that's where we found like the space in the market to just be like, yeah, we can do this and we can do this very well.
Are you getting with a small community like that? Are you getting a lot of like client turnover? Because I know within the fitness scene, it just inherently there's turnover
Right.
because it's more of like a people problem than it is like a product problem, quote unquote.
Right, right. And with with like the natural attrition, we have a wait list too, man, which is
Really?
amazing. Yeah, so it's a membership cap of 250 members because the space is only like just under 4,000 square foot. So 250 is not a number that like a fire marshal or anything put on us. It's just a number that I was like, okay, at 250 members times X amount of dollars for per
Mm.
membership, it had to make sense business wise. And then also 250 members are not all going to come at the same time. So across the span of 24 hours, how does that look? And it's been working out very well. And with the natural attrition of things, like if one person drops, I have 15 to 20 people waiting to sign
Yeah.
up, which is, it's a blessing. I think we're in a good position. We never would have imagined that this would have happened so quickly. We're extremely, extremely blessed.
Yeah, dude, I'm excited to hear about. So you got out of the service and just like run me through how you got to where you are now. Cause like I've
Right.
slowly watched the journey over Instagram and like obviously we've
Uh,
been in touch over the years. But
yeah.
to your point earlier, like I remember you hanging out with Donovan, like just working on your garage. And then over time I saw like more and more. And then I saw the gym just I feel like pop up out of nowhere. And I was like, bro, what?
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like I have the track record down to where I'm like, if I say I'm gonna go do something,
Yep.
I'm gonna go do it. So 2020 I got out and that's when I was trying to go guard SF. The story is so crazy because it's like as I was traveling to SFRE, that guard selection course, Linda calls and she's like, kind of at a loss for words. And I'm like, spit it out. Like, what's up? Like, what are you trying to say? And she's like, can't say anything. So she shows me the pregnancy test. And
No way.
I'm like, right on. I'm like, right on. And, she's like, what do you want to do? I'm like, we're about to be parents, dude. Like, let's be happy about it. But in my head, like, I'm smiling. I'm super happy. But in my head, I'm like, fuck, dude. Like, I didn't save a dollar while I was in the military, dude. Dude, I was partying my ass off. I was partying my ass off and I was like, bro, what? I was like, I was prepared to just like slumlord it out in the guard for a little bit, go become a Green Beret. And now I have a family to take care of. I was like, fuck, dude. So I went through the course and it's kind of like they bless you off. So you get selected for that process. I got selected and like towards the end, I like tell the chief, I'm like, yeah, I just found out, my girl's pregnant, and I think I might need to take a break in service, to try to make some money for them. And then he said the dopest thing. He was just like, well, if you don't take care of them, I don't want you on the team anyway. So
Yeah.
go do what you have to do. And I was like, is there anything like standard or how many years do I need to take? And he's like, well, finish the next portion of like the guard selection and then, we'll let you know or whatever. So I did it. And then I was panicking for a while. I was like, man, what do I do? Because I was like, I wrote off being a Tizzo. I was like, dude, I'm done. I'm done with this. I don't ever want to do it again. But L3 had just picked up that contract gig. And, I was applying to so many jobs and clearance jobs because I was like, I just got to make something work. And then the L3 thing popped up again. And I guess I've just been lucking out my whole life. Like things just kind of land in my lap. And I'm like, okay, that's an easy sell.
Mhm.
I'm glad I didn't burn any bridges or talk too much shit. But yeah, I definitely did not want to be a Tizzo again. So that's 2020, and then I was with L3 for about 3 years. I think it was in 2023 we found out we're having our second kid, and I was like, great. Like I've effectively missed half of Ryu's life, my oldest son. I've missed half of his life at this point, and I'm like, do I want to continue doing this? Because like you fly with pilots for long enough, and they're like, yeah, I'm on my third divorce.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
Don't ever see my kids. Kids hate me, and I'm like,
Yep.
I don't want that.
Can you quickly just explain like what that lifestyle was like just for because I do have a few listeners who like aren't in the military, know nothing about the
Right.
military. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so with the contract work, it's kind of like the most cush schedule that you can possibly get if you are present while you're home. So it's a 2 month on, 2 month off, like deployment gig. While you're gone, for 2 months straight. And with L3, that was, in a few different countries, always in shitholes. But the 2 months off, you have 2 months that are completely dedicated to your family 24 hours a day, which is amazing, And so like every year that passed, or I think it was like every rotation that passed, we were just like thinking, can we trade this amount of money for something stateside and work a 9 to 5? And it always came up to no.
Yeah.
Like the money was just so much more, and then the time home was, it's invaluable, because what other job can you have that has 6 months of vacation time a year? It's nothing. Nothing is going to give you that good of a schedule. So we were just like, okay, let's just keep doing this and reevaluate after each rotation or each year. But that's when like the existential dread kicks in, man. You're like, if we just keep saying this, or if we keep saying that we're going to hit a savings goal or investment goal or something like that, like I feel like I'm going to be stuck here forever, And I was like, I remember being like extremely vulnerable and telling Linda, like, we need to we need to invest in ourselves. Like we need to, if the stock market's a gamble, I want to gamble on myself.
Yeah.
I want to throw it all on black, you know, and like let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. And so we're at the point now where our second kid, I'm like, that this is where we're at. We're like, what do I like doing? What do I like doing? And how can I make money from it? So I'm glad. I'm glad I had that moment where I was like, it was also like beating myself up, because I'm like, I'm a man. Like maybe I should go learn how to go be like a contractor, like learn how to be Bob the Builder, build houses or something, because I was like, I don't really have any tangible skills from the military besides military stuff. So I was like, how can I translate this work into the civilian sector? And so I'm glad I didn't try to like chase after skills that would make me marketable in the civilian sector, and rather, did like a soul searching path where it was like, what will make me the most happy? Like how can I work the rest of my life but not feel like I've worked a day?
Yep.
So this is the question. And this is the question that I hope everybody asks themselves. It seems very like hard, but once you figure it out, you're like, duh, like people that fish, you fish every day, you love fishing, find out something to sell for fishing, and then keep doing it until it works.
I think very soon here, and when I say soon, I mean like in the next 10 years, I think with the increase in technology, AI, and all that other stuff, and I mean, in the last 2 years, we've seen it with the extreme rise of like content creation and like Instagram, TikTok, and all other stuff. I think people are slowly going to be more comfortable with the idea of monetizing themselves,
Right.
and then having big brands basically fund their lifestyles, as long
Yeah.
as these big brands can like get money out of these people, like kind of thing.
Yeah.
I still think that's going to be a small percentage of the global market, but I
Yeah.
actually like the idea that you are able to like go on Instagram, lift in your gym, and just be like, yo, we're having it, like that DJ set that you guys had in your video. I was
Yeah.
like, bro, I wish I lived in Tampa. I was like, this is so dope, dude. I was like, this is so cool.
Yeah, it's
But stuff
awesome,
like that,
man.
like,
And it's just like you get to spend time with people who like, who like torturing their bodies, I guess. And like everybody's so dope, bro. It's like, that camaraderie that you find in the military. Like we all have our little groups of
yeah,
friends because you trauma bond. Like you spend a lot of time in like shitty places with people, and then you realize that like, we're all we got. Humans are all we got. That's literally it. And once we realize that, like, you can't alienate yourself, you need community, and you just need to be surrounded by people who are willing to do hard things.
yeah,
Now, it is really hard to find that in just like regular society. So having a place that isn't like so commercialized to the point where it feels soulless, because a lot of businesses are like that. You walk into a place and it's like you don't really know what's going on or who owns the place or their story or anything like that. You just know that it's like, I found this place because I looked it up on Google. So everybody here, like they kind of find lifelong friends here, and it's been so dope, man.
Hey, friends. If you're finding value in these conversations, it would mean a great deal to me if you would share the episodes with your friends. Word of mouth is how this show grows. It's how we reach more people with stories like these, and it's how we build this community of people preparing for their finest hour. Every share and every additional listener allows me to put more resources back into making this show even better for you. If you would do that for me, I promise to work intently to ensure this becomes a show you genuinely look forward to, rather than just another podcast in your feed. If you need something to share, you can head to yfhpodcast.com. Again, that's yfhpodcast.com. There it should have everything you need. Thank you, and let's get back to the show.
So you found out about your second son being born. What happened after that to like get you to where you are today?
Man, the timeline was quick, dude. It was like the second I was like, yeah, let's be dumb. Let's open a gym. I bought a whole gym's worth, like a small training facility's worth of vintage weights. So I didn't, I don't even consider myself a bodybuilder or anything like that. It's just my mom bodybuilded, she won a show a year after she gave birth to me. So it's always been like, around the family. And like the more I was able to travel and go to different gyms and see like how privately owned gym setups were, like the machines, there's a common theme with the machines. Like everybody buys the same machines. Like in the best gyms in the world, they all buy like the same 5 brands. And it's not just one fleet of Nautilus, it's like they handpick each piece and everything is like meant to be there. And I was like, so I started taking notes, man. I was like, okay, so this chest press is the best chest press I've ever used. And I would go to another gym. It's like, oh, look, they have it here too. Let me try a different one. It's like, nope, that's shit. Let me try, whatever. So it was like literally, it was like trial and error. And then you start nerding out about this shit. And you're like, damn, dude, like they used to put a lot of thought into strength training equipment. And it's so crazy. Like this rabbit hole is so deep. And now there's a whole scene of like vintage collectors. So people who like get hard-ons for like the vintage cars, it's like the same type of people. But now they're spending, now they're spending tens of thousands of dollars on a chest press, or now they're spending tens of thousands of dollars on a leg press. And I'm like, that's crazy. But people are throwing it in their garage. And I'm like, are you actually using it? You're just happy to own it? Like, the only downside for me is that like I just want to keep buying these dope machines for my members, but the market is crazy right now for gym equipment. Anyway, so I bought this whole set of like vintage Ivanko plates, and then I went on this whole journey of like, there's different ways that you can acquire like, secondhand things. There's auction websites where they buy out like high school, college fitness centers or whatever, throw it up for auction. Yeah. That's actually like, it's not a secret anymore. So everybody's doing it. Now the auctions are crazy. Yeah. We just saw like a leg press go past $15,000, something like that. And I'm like, this is too much. And then there's even, so Facebook Marketplace, obviously, and then you can do like estate sales, or just if you know of a gym that's going out of business. The smaller private training boutique gyms fail often. So those gyms who rely on like personal training only, as sad as it is, like they go under pretty frequently because they're reliant on like high cost, very high cost, like over $150 per month. High cost members, and that turnover is pretty crazy because like once somebody gets competent enough to train, they're like, after 2-3 months, man, like I might be able to do this on my own, so they'll go somewhere else. But our gym right now, our prices are $70 a month with the membership cap, waitlist, and it's just been working out perfectly. So the timeline was very aggressive. We found out we're having our second son towards the middle/end of 2023. Then that first weight set was bought in November. I kept buying stuff. I think we packed out like 8 of the largest storage units at the U-Haul near us. We packed out 8 of those things within like 2 or 3 months. So I acquired maybe two gyms worth of machines in like 2 or 3 months. If you can imagine like the cost of all of that, that was a shit ton of money. And like I would be overseas most times too. So if I wasn't home to go pick it up myself, I would have to like hire a shipper, and the shipper would come, and sometimes I'd forget to tell Linda, and Linda's like, did you buy something else? I'm like, oh shit, yeah, my bad. It's it's this giant piece is coming today. Sorry. So these 8 storage units were filled up. We found a place, signed the lease in March, and then we opened the doors in May. We probably could have opened in April if they didn't lie to us about the facility and whatnot. But man, it was a very aggressive push to open, because I knew we could do it. I'm like a crackhead. I'm like, I need to see like the task accomplished, or else I won't be able to sleep.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Are you happy?
I'm happy, dude. I'm fulfilled. I feel like my cup is full 1000%. Right now, it's just the matter of like finding balance, making sure that I don't spend all day here. Because I'll tell Linda like, oh yeah, I'll be home at 11:30. 11:30 comes by, I haven't left yet. We live like 20 minutes away from the gym. 12:30 comes by and she's like, have you eaten yet? Like, are you gonna come home? And I'm just like, oh damn, my bad. But like something you've heard this so many times, like you really don't have like a clock out time when you own a business. It's never ending. The toilet's gonna clog, a machine's gonna break.
Mhm.
And I just hate having things broken when I can do something about it.
Yeah.
So if I'm about to leave and something breaks, I'm gonna fix it. I'll be here till whenever. But Linda, I say this often, Linda's the business owner. I'm kind of just the guy that spends the money and
Hangs out with the people in it. Yeah, bro. Yeah. If you could give for I'll say it this way. So like me trying to start my own business, like doing the whole thing, almost a very similar situation as you. If you give me one piece of advice that you feel like I could take away and immediately implement, what would that thing be?
One piece of advice. That's hard, man, because I have a whole PDF like file ready to send you on like tips to start. So I would say, like a conversation from earlier, like make sure this is something that you want to do, and I think you're the perfect person for it, because just connecting with people and having that community where you can help people. Where you feel the most fulfilled is when somebody comes up to you and they're like, I didn't have friends before this, or honestly, like I've been having a terrible day and this is the only place I like to come to, and this has been the best place for me.
It's been a blessing, dude. Thanks for coming on.